The producers really showed us all of their cards this week, and I hope that none of them strained anything because they were stretching. Hi, hello everyone, welcome into my channel. My name is Jer. We have been chatting about Drag Race Season 17, and we are going to continue that this week with episode 5. It's RDR Live, or I guess it was just RDR Live this time. They left out the its. I want to say thank you to everyone who left a lot of kind, sweet messages on my last video. I did have to put down my cat, and we get his ashes back sometime next week. But I was feeling up to chatting about this. This kind of brightened my week. Or at least it started to brighten my week, and then the actual episode happened. It's been a tough week, but I appreciate all of you leaving kind comments last week, so thank you for that. We have a lot to talk about, and I'm gonna try and keep my thoughts concise. Every single time that I film these, I talk for over an hour, and I have to edit those down to whatever y'all see. I don't want to hear myself for an hour this week. I just don't. I want to start off by saying that the producers super dropped the ball. I remember last week thinking, but I didn't verbalize it, that I felt that the quilted runway was a little odd, or maybe I did say that. The quilted runway felt odd for a referential episode to the entire franchise. So in my head I thought, I wonder if there will be some runway down the road that would have perfectly worked in last week's episode, and then it'll be revealed at some point. Sort of similar to how in Canada's Drag Race this last season there was an alien challenge and then an alien runway, and it was weird that those were disconnected. So I'm gonna take you back in time to season 5, where after the Draggle Rock episode, they had a runway category that was pretty in pink. And the lip sync song that night was Pussycat Dolls When I Grow Up. The runway category for episode 5 was Tickle Me Pink. And last week there was a Pussycat Dolls song. And in my head, my big brain wanting everything to connect said, why didn't they just do the pink runway for the Pussycat Dolls song and then call it Tickle Me Pussycat Pink? And then it would have been a reference to the show on the episode referencing the show. I don't know, man, I just work here. The girls seem in pretty good spirits about Joella not being there anymore. Certainly not the same attitude they had when Lucky got eliminated. And Arietti is furious about her bottom placement, and I mentioned last week you could see on her face that she was not happy, and I felt like that energy was going to be the thing that sabotaged her. Now, caveat and but, I don't think that Arietti was the worst this week. I think there were plenty of others that were worse than her, but I do think that the producers are going to weaponize her energy against her, and I'm feeling like Arietti is about to become this season's Jan. I'm early coining the phrase cat nose Jan. Jules is really trying to make Piggy happen, a queen that's just eating, eating, eating. In my kinky brain, I hear pig and I think someone who wants to sniff sweaty armpits and jock straps. So I mean, hey, if she wants to try and make Piggy happen on Drag Race, let her do her thing. I don't think it's gonna happen though. Drag Race fans work hard, but the kink community works harder. And co-opting kink phrases to Drag Race I don't think is gonna stick. And again, we move straight into the challenge where Rue comes right on in and announces that it's gonna be everyone's favorite sketch comedy challenge, RDR Live. I don't know who likes this challenge.
Who said that? Who said that?
I was personally excited for it, because I thought maybe the writers will do a good job this time. Maybe they've learned from their mistakes. This has so much potential to be funny. And I mean, God, there's so much content you could pull. On top of it, it's literally just sketch comedy. So you could write anything that is funny. It's not a lot of work. And I feel like the writers just took every opportunity to not be funny. Like they said, we could be funny here, but what if we didn't?
We're gonna be bad.
Lydia fighting for a Golden Girls role while not knowing the Golden Girls was absolutely camp. I want to get into all of these different sketches, and the Golden Girls one is the one that rubs me the most wrong. One, we've got a curse of Golden Girls. Anytime someone does a Golden Girl, there's a curse on them. I'm thinking All Stars 5 when they did that Golden Girls room design challenge and all of them were in the bottom. Elliot with 3 Ks. Crystal Will See You Now in UK 1. Anytime the Golden Girls are referenced, that is an automatic low placement, and I would stay away from Golden Girls at any cost. And Sam kind of gagged me because, I'm gonna paraphrase, Crystal was trying to get a character that Lana was doing, and Sam said, I think you could do better because that character is really basic, so you should let Lana do it. Help! It was like a compliment and a drag at the same time. Dada would have been like, excuse me. And then Hormona realizing in real time that a vagina is called a beaver because beavers eat wood, and seeing those gears touching each other was crazy. So let's talk about our challenge. And I'm not gonna be nice. I think overall, everybody that was in this challenge did the best that they could with the material that was provided. They embraced the materials, as Kim Chi once said, but the materials were garbage. The opening monologue being a political commentary I thought was stupid. Karen's at a town hall meeting complaining about pronouns, haha, hilarious. It's something that we've heard a bazillion times. It's not funny anymore. I don't know if it's ever been funny. The connection of Karens and these conservative people being as intelligent as Neanderthals, haha, whatever. It was so blah to me. I've heard these jokes recycled a million times. They're not interesting anymore. I think that Anya ate up that role. She has so much raw charisma and she's applying that to the challenge, and that's gonna propel her to the end. I'm so excited to see it. Ariete, Corey, and Lana were fine in the roles they were given. They were kind of blah roles. I know this was filmed a long time ago, and so it's hard to keep with current references, but we've all known that Wicked was going to come out last year. Everyone knew. This 100% easily could have been some type of Wicked parody. Wicked is a stage musical that exists that they could have pulled from and done the little copyright liberties that Drag Race always does. And the L. Frank Baum book is in public domain, so they could have easily done some type of witch character, they could have done the Galinda character, they could have done some Aussians, and they could have just set it up as like a town hall meeting, done some type of drag queen joke, and that would have been topical, and it would have been more funny and interesting because it's something that we haven't seen before. But they were all fine, except for Anya. Anya was the winner of this group. Everyone else was very safe. And I gotta say that Anya as the host in this lilac color was chef's kiss. She is giving such winner energy, and if she does not make it to top 3, I'm gonna be gagaroni. And I fear that I have become a stan. Act 2 is a college ASMR podcast, which I thought was cringe and uncomfortable. This features Sam, Jules, and Hormona. And in my opinion, I think that Jules was the standout. Her Australian accent was so funny to me and caught me so off guard. I was giggling the whole time. These are, again, old, recycled, boring jokes. And I know that Rue is still super into ASMR, but that train is kind of past. Unless you're doing adult film work, quietly whispering into a camera that someone's a very good boy. We're not seeing a lot of ASMR content that's really circulating in the queer community. At least I'm not, and I'm chronically online. And I think this podcast idea had so much potential. I think it could have been hilarious to do some type of true crime story. A Whatever Happened to Merle Ginsburg Part 2 would have been funny, and done it true crime style. And then Jules could have come in as Merle Ginsburg being like, what are you talking about? I'm not dead, I'm right here. I think Sam was trying to channel Kim Cattrall in this challenge, but she was giving me Milan meets Madame LaQueer.
We are talking about beavers.
And I hated her portrayal of a lesbian, like, so much. And then I skipped RuPaul's song. Set 3 is QNN. Now, I am a slut for QNN. I'm a big fan. This features Crystal, Lexi, and Susie. This was whatever to me, again. There was so much potential for actual political commentary, for actual social commentary. And I know, again, that it's hard because this happened, like a year ago, and it's just now getting dropped. So it's hard to stay topical and current. However, they could have just done like a Tudor boot of Monopulence. They could have done a Tudor boot of the entrance looks. They could have talked about a lot of the journey from last season. They could have referenced so many things that have happened in queer culture this last year, or even the year before. And it was just a lot of like garbage fluff topics that didn't have any comedy written in them. And I think these girls were trying so hard, but I don't think any of them landed for me. But the writers did not miss their opportunity to rub Rue's butthole by talking about her book. And then I think this oddly constructed character that was written for Susie was just bad. I think this cigarette mom who raised RuPaul and taught her all her catchphrases had some potential. And I think Susie did a great job with what she was given to her. But I just didn't like the character as it was written. And then our final set is in a hospital, where we've got Acacia and Lydia. I think Acacia was hilarious, and in my opinion, Acacia was robbed. Acacia was fully robbed. She did so great with the lines they were given. I loved the way that she was talking through them, the way that she was punching in on the sexuality. Just raw sex on a stick thing that character really needed. And then Lydia was like a corpse. She was so unwatchable. She was so uncomfortable. She did not understand a single reference. And Lydia was playing the straight man, which is very hard to do in sketch comedy. You have to be able to play that well. I just don't think she's got the personality to play the straight man role. On top of it, the Golden Girls is such a dated reference. Does anyone even reference that in their drag anymore? It's so infrequent if you're a younger queen like the majority of these girls. And I would argue that there's more queer history and more queer references that have not been referenced on the show. And I've complained about this before with how much Rue always leans in on Joan Crawford and the Golden Girls and some of these dated references that she's always going towards. And we have literal decades of references since then of queer history and moments. Queer television, queer music, queer media, queer magazines. And there were so many routes that this could have gone to deliver this character. I don't know, man. I hated pretty much every moment of this. I think Acacia and Anya were the top standouts. And I think Jules was really funny and consistent. And then everyone else was just kind of fine because they got garbage. And then Lydia was just bad. And Sam was bad. So then we go to the runway where Ross Matthews is back. And I think RuPaul is wearing the same hair every week. This should be a Kimmy Couture moment where we put all of the photos together of the last several weeks of her walking and it's the same wig. And our runway category is Tickled Pink. And like every week, I will be ranking them from my favorites to my least favorite. So let's get into it in alphabetical order, starting with Acacia Forgot. I gasped. This is a super simple silhouette, okay? Like, I'm not gonna pretend that this is the most bombastic thing that I've ever seen on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm not gonna pretend that this is the most bombastic thing that happened on Tickled Pink. But I love a shoulder moment. And these severe shoulders with all the ruching and the ruffling along the sides. This super ruched up skirt that's so slutty and has those fishnets underneath. The split hair and the lightning earring and this crazy blush. Girl, it was flawless. It was like Dynasty. Mama, this is number 2 for me. Acacia gagged me this week. I love this look. And not everything needs to be crazy. This is simplistic in a way that I gravitate towards. Next, we have Ariete, who is obviously in the number 1 spot. Duh. This silhouette is really bonkers. And I am so excited to see more of what Ariete is going to do this season, depending on how long she lasts. I love the consistent color of this, and yet it doesn't feel washed out. It looks like a piece of gum that got splat on a wall. I love the chains. I love the harnesses. I love the hair that's sleek and high at the same time. I love the severity of the shoulders and all these spikes. This manipulation of this textile is quite intriguing to me. And then there's even more textural detail using the mesh bodysuit that's underneath this. With all the buckles and the harnesses, it's super Final Fantasy coded. And I love that she even took in the note about changing up her makeup and lightened it and didn't make it as severe on the nose. Ariete was the best of the night, in my opinion, from this category. Next up we have Crystal. It's another silicone bubblegum dress, and my first reference, what the fuck? My brain goes straight to Trinity. I think she did it in All Stars 4, and I think she did it better doing that like bubblegum exploding look. I think it looks kind of, it looks a little messy. I'm sorry to this girl. I'm so sorry. I didn't like it. This was number 7. Next, we have Hormona Lisa. I'm just like bored, man. I'm so bored. She is gonna get away with this silhouette every single week. And I'm so bored already. I'm so bored. And Rue is gonna go, yes! Yes! That's my book tour pick. And I'm bored. Are you bored? She looks pretty, but I'm bored. 9. And next up we have Jules, who's doing My Fair Lady, but make it Selena. And I'm kind of obsessed. I mean, the way that the pants are constructed are very chap Selena coded. I love this hat, man. I love all the little lacy, ruffly details. This is cute. I'm gonna complain about an overuse of clashing colors in a little bit. Jules did it well here. Because these are close enough in shades on the color wheel. So we've got this super light bubblegum pink, and then you've got a pink lemonade pink. And the pink lemonade color is used to create contrast. They're not too different, they're just close enough, but they stand out as separate colors. Keep that in mind for later. We're gonna be consistent in our judgment here. I love this look, I love her makeup, she's giving it to me. Jules is number 4. Next up we have Corey giving us a Paris Hilton look, meets ballet. These shoes are kind of psychotic and I think I hate those the most. I just don't like this sort of lace up look to them. I think the skirt is really fun and I love the texture that's built in there and I love how shiny this bodice is of the dress. I think that the hair is nice. I think it's cute and you know what? She's getting away with these mini dresses and I love that she is. Number 8. Next up we have Lana Giray. Lana is doing a like Bo Peep inspiration here. I was definitely getting a take on that crisp Dior silhouette and I love this look. It really does it for me. It's pretty, it's well made. I'm really enjoying her makeup and her hair. I love this weird like floral texture that's on the bodice. I don't know what kind of print that is, but it's eye-catching to me. And then all of these ruffles that are at the bottom of the skirt are so freaking pretty. Lana's at number 5 for me. Next we have Lexi. I'm so sorry, mama. I stan you. You're incredible, but this look is not. It's so tacky. It is so tacky. I don't love this hot pink leopard fur that she's got. I think that's the part that I'm responding the least to. And then of everything that Lexi's brought, everything's been really high scale so far. And this is sort of the lowest scale look. Plus the shoes don't match the garment. They're not even the right color. It's just slightly more pink than that white pink on the leopard print, if you zoom in really hard. And so it contrasts in a way that I'm not loving. I think the silhouette is something that's a little too expected. I want to give her a low placement, but there were others I disliked more. So she's at number 6 for me. And I know that might be crazy, putting her above Corey, but it is what it is. And I don't care. Next up we have Lydia B. Collins doing one of my favorite things in the entire world, a penis. I love that there's even sperm that's coming out of the top, represented by the feathers. The fuzzy balls are funny, it's got a point of view. She's representing the It's Pink community. Can I say I love what this wants to be? I just don't like this. There's a lot of textural elements that I think are conflicting and clashing. I think everything needed to be this feathery felt fabric. And I think the color of the boots are so conflicting with the garment. The hair color is completely conflicting. The makeup is conflicting. I love what this wanted to be, but the elements are disparaging and discordant. And once again, we have an outfit that is wearing Lydia. Oversized, bulky, swimming in it seems to be her brand. And I'm getting that. I just am not responding like yes to it. Even though I love penis. Who doesn't love penis? Sorry, it's at number 11 for me. Next up, we have Anya Nerve in probably one of the most disappointing looks of the night because I was rooting for Anya to win at this point. And the whole sketch, I'm like, Anya's got it, Anya's got it, Anya's got it. And then she came out in this look and I was like edging, and then the bone went away. I love the idea of using sneakers to construct a look. This could not have been cheap to make. If she was using actual sneakers, and it does seem to be that way, this was probably expensive as hell, buying all of those sneakers in bulk, shredding them apart, and then reusing them. 19, maybe 20. I'm gonna say there's probably about 20 sneakers represented here based on the lace that we're seeing. If these are in fact sneakers that she pulled apart to create this look. I think using a swimsuit with boots, it's just so expected. It's just so everyday and ordinary. And after her excellent performance, I wanted something that was not everyday ordinary for silhouette. I give it construction points because it is well made based off the textile, but the shape and the silhouette is dull to me. Plus, I don't really like the way that it's cutting straight from where the coochie is, and then it does this very sharp V. I don't think it's cutting the body very well. The cut underneath the boobs, and then those breasts are suffocating. She's gonna need a mammogram after this because those are getting so pressed in. I mean, they may never recover after that. Those boobs are squished. You ever gotten like a hug from someone that just hugged you way too tight and you just felt your titties compress? Damn, she had it in the bag. That's number 10, mama. Next up we have Sam Starr. Now recall back to what I said about jewels and the different colors. I hate this. Hate it. It is so low budget to everything we've seen Sam do. It's almost like she thought, this won't be a runway category, I don't have to worry about it. What is this weird felty fabric that is on the corset? This costume jewelry that looks like it came straight out of Party City with these colors. They don't look luxe on top of any of these. And then these feathers look like they came straight out of a Joann's bag. I don't mind. I am not someone that is here to gatekeep people's affordability of their drag. But everything here looks cheap. The feathers on the boa are arguably the most expensive looking thing. But then everything else is so low scale. The hair is kind of in the face. It's not really scooped away from the head. The shoes are not quite the right type of shoe for this look. Everything is just so low scale, low budget. And I don't like it. The colors are way too discordant. They do not work with the outfit. This is bad. This was number 12. And I'm not apologizing. And finally, we have Susie Toot in this really incredible Harlequin clown look. I really love the whimsy of it all. I like that she had these big balloons. I love the shape of it with the tulle. It's couture, it's high fashion, it's interesting, it's visually impactful. I love the color blocking, and I like her reference point. And she is the only one to incorporate the entire category, which is tickled pink. When I think tickled pink, I think like you're being tickled so hard that you're blushing, right? So she's playing a clown who's meant to make you laugh so hard that your face is gonna turn pink. And that's great. That's such smart thinking. She went in the box, played with the tools that were there, and still went outside of it and incorporated her own personal brand into it. Susie was incredible on the runway, and I loved her reference point. And obviously that fills out our last remaining spot. So now we gotta talk about deliberation because there's a lot to unpack here. If I had a dime for every time that someone on Drag Race got Jennifer Lewis and Jennifer Lawrence confused, I'd have 2, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Simone walked so that Anya could trip.
Jennifer Lewis, sorry.
Hormona is also in the top, which was incredibly baffling to me because her runway was low-key and her performance was fine. I did not understand her top placement. That should have been Jules, 100%. She was told that she was the star of her sketch, which is a bold-faced lie. The dossier this week was crazy. You know that guest judge was like, Hormona Lisa, who was she? Oh, she was in the skit about the podcast. Okay, so you want me to say nice things about her? Can I get a script? And then Susie was also in top 3, and in my opinion, the runway was great, but I don't think it was enough to put her in the top. I think Acacia, honestly, was the funniest of the entire night, did so much with that character, looked beautiful on the runway, and absolutely deserved that spot. Do I think that Susie was great? Yes. But I think that Acacia really came out of her shell. And our bottoms are Arietti, which pissed me off. The dossier said she was bottom, so they had to make critiques stick, but none of them actually made sense because none of them were accurate to what we saw. She was fine in the challenge and she looked hot on the runway. That should have been an automatic safe because there were far worse people on the runway and in the challenge. Sam was in the bottom, which was completely deserved because she was awful in the challenge and on the runway, but she deserved bottom too, and to lip sync tonight. And strangely, she was told that her runway was a stand-up, and I don't get that at all because I thought it was boot nasty. And then Lydia was also bottom, which is the one that makes the most sense. She definitely deserved to lip sync, definitely against Sam. And in my opinion, the producer hands were being shown way too much. So in Untucked, we get a fantastic Tammy Brown moment from Jules going, "Ha! Lana does not want to be a crybaby on TV, so she's gone off into the corner to go process her emotions and refuses to talk to anyone." I understand this on a human emotional level. You don't want to be seen as being anything more than this fabulous drag queen. However, you're on television. You are creating reality TV. And when you close yourself off to the cameras and close yourself off to the reality, what immediately happens? There is a PA that clicks their pen, they flip open to your card, and they start furiously writing. Doesn't want to open up, and I am guaranteeing of everyone that's remaining, her name got shot straight to the top of the get her out list. I think she's very talented. I think she's got some great runways, but you cannot be closed off in reality TV. I have a feeling that's gonna really hurt her in the coming weeks. At the very least, it's gonna hurt her edit. And then Ariete is irritated as hell, which I don't blame her at all because she looked great on the runway. She did that thing that I hate when drag queens do on the show, where they say, "I shouldn't be at the bottom, others deserve it more than me." And then they'll say, "Who?" And they'll say, "Just people, you all know. I mean, we've all talked." And then they won't say anything. Ariete goes and names everyone and says, "You, and you." I lived. If you're gonna talk big game, you better back it up. And I agree, she was not the worst of the night. And then Susie ate up all of those girls by saying, "I don't care what other drag queens think about my drag. If you don't think it's fierce or you don't think it's yes God, doesn't matter because the judges like it. And they're the only ones who matter right now." And that's great energy to have both on the show and off of it. The only ones that matter are the ones who are giving you the check. She's got big Jinx Monsoon energy right now, definitely coming across like the underdog who nobody is really anticipating to do well, but she is doing well. And she's just unbothered by the critiques. Susie is the winner of the challenge this week, and I think of the top 3 that was deserved. I still think that Acacia should have been up there and probably should have won the challenge. And our bottom 2 are Ariete and Lydia, which it should have been Lydia and Sam, and they lip sync to Boogie Wonderland. What a fun song this is. Lydia was kind of turning it. When she did that knee thing, I was a fan. And I love Ariete, but she was giving white people movement. Like she was doing nothing. Our ancestors are crying. And as a Latino, I can say that. Lydia won, and honestly, the room was gagged and I was gagged, but she deserved it. Ariete getting the producer pick for the lever was not on my bingo card, but I knew the moment that Michelle held her breath that she was getting dunked. Every other week, Michelle sort of just sat there like, tee-hee, he. And this week, she fully like, because she knew she was gonna get dropped, she just didn't know when. She gave it away, the cards were played. And I know that Michelle knows ahead of time when a girl is gonna get it. I was kind of gagged that Ariete got the producer pick because I didn't think she was going to. I thought they would save that for someone else down the road. But I wonder if it's because Ariete is causing friction right now and could be a potential agitator more so than Hormona is, more so than Corey is, because she is pissed. And I think they're setting her up to be a Jan archetype. And there's nothing that the show loves to do more than to harass and mentally torture a Jan archetype. So if they give her the save and then continually put her in the bottom again and again and again and snub her from places where maybe she should win and do well, I think they're gonna weaponize that against her. And so that means that no one is gonna be saved from a lever going forward. Unless RuPaul really likes someone and does a, wait, candy. And I think it is kind of funny because if I'm not mistaken, Ariete has a 17 tattoo right under her ear. And 1 and 7 were both the levers that saved queens this season. Thought that was interesting. And Rue even says to bet on 17. Next week is a marine ball. And I'm gonna be real, I hate these big ball categories. I love big balls, but I don't love big balls on Drag Race. I like when they're smaller because a lot of those filler queens get whittled off and we don't have to see 25 bad looks. We can see like I don't know, 9 really strong looks. And it looks like someone has sabotaged Lexi. Whether that be a competitor, where my bets are on Hormona, or if some producer came through in the middle of the night and just shredded it up. Something crazy is gonna happen next week to Lexi, and I'm not looking forward to it, because if she goes home for that, I'm gonna be pissed. What did you think about this challenge? What did you think about the runway? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see y'all next week for another one. See you on the flip.